Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
And good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
Hey there.
And we all have a very special guest, Dennis Moore. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Glad you could come in today because we got a lot to talk about and some things that are probably off the table that people haven't been getting news on. And so I'm glad that you came in, and then you can stick around and we'll banter about the news of the week as well. And I'll try not to put on my tinfoil hat that Ed was laughing at me about.
I left it at home.
Yeah, well, that's the way things go. Well, let's take care of a little business. This segment is brought to you by J&M Landscaping Tree Division, 248-640-7029. That's 248-640-7029. I don't know what you two are doing, but you...
It's poured in nuts, man.
Oh, my gosh. All right, well, anyways, 20% off first-time coupon for first-time customers in the Current, COURANTonline.com.
For the news. You need, sorry.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that far yet. And you can reach Jason at j_m_landscaping at yahoo.com. So get those trees down. The snow and the ice is coming. The storms are coming. Get those trees down before they destroy your house or take your power lines out or whatever happens. So 248-640-7029. Jason did a great job at my house. I can assure you they do a good job. Fully licensed, bonded, the whole nine yards. Experts. Don't try to do that stuff yourself. Okay, so what we do on The Drift every week is go over the news that we put on thedailydrift.com. It's
the news you need to know.
Simpatico. It's like, music. Is this your dream?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm living the dream right now.
If you don't live your dream, you die, right? That's what it comes down
you just
to.
die in your dream, so it's not...
if I had to die...
Really die in your dream? Do you die in real life? Is it like...
It's what the movies always tell you.
Yeah.
I always seem to wake up that last little minute.
Thank
there,
God.
so,
well, then again, if you didn't wake up, then you'd know.
You
couldn't tell anybody.
Or you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right. So, another spot. This is 6-year anniversary for me. I've been on the radio, Derek. 6 years. Doesn't seem that long, does it?
Congratulations.
No,
yes.
it goes by fast.
It went by fast.
It's amazing.
I when I hear some of these other national broadcasters, we've been doing it 10 years and stuff, I'm like, man, one of these years I'm going to get to 10. Well, it's 6 in a flash. It's gone.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
Yeah, well, it
Congratulations.
did go by quick.
And a very informative 6 years.
I've learned a lot. I don't
enjoyed
know about the
listening.
listeners, but I've learned a lot. Yeah. So we're going to start out with Dennis. You are the starter of the Willow Run Tea Party, which
Founder.
I joined years ago as well.
Absolutely.
And don't really participate because Ipsy's a little farther from. And we're going to do the show. Before the show, I had no idea where the name Ypsilanti came from. We're going to do a whole show on that. You guys are like a wealth of information. We'll have to have you call in because you're moving, I know. But but it's the Willow Run Tea Party has been very instrumental. It's a great political action group. And but you've also got some news on the bridge, which has always been kind of a sore spot for me because I don't like government any more necessary than is completely necessary. So why don't you give me a little update on the Willow Run Tea Party, and then we'll talk about the bridge, and then move on to other things.
Well, we went from political action, which our folks are still doing that, but an emphasis became on issues and orientation to the issues of where we live and how we live. And so the bridge came into play one day when I realized that there was a constitutional issue rather than an issue of the state taking money out of the taxpayers' pockets to build a span that Matty Maroon would have covered on it with his own money. Mm-hmm. As attractive as that is to not have taxpayers pay for that state, the issue wasn't that for me at least. The issue was a constitutional issue. Matty Maroon.
We should back up a second. We've been saying the bridge. We know which bridge. Maybe there's some people who don't.
Yeah, everyone knows in Detroit we have the Ambassador Bridge and we have a tunnel. And the state of Michigan has been, under Snyder, has been pushing for this new second span, state-owned bridge to Canada. And a lot of us didn't
quite
like
frankly, it began under Jennifer Granholm.
Oh,
They actually built the entryways and everything. If you went down on Fort Street, you would see that those were pre-Snyder. They were built already, and they would stop right at the river, ready for the span to go across. Matty Maroon was going to do this with his own money. And by the way, he was going to use American steel and American labor. That's very attractive, but even that wasn't the largest issue for me. The issue was that Matty Maroon and Warren Buffett, when they bought the bridge, they also purchased and was in possession of a treaty with Canada. And people don't really understand this, but what motivated me was if you cross an international line, you're going to have 60 votes in the Senate to approve a treaty. A governor cannot do this. And Matty Maroon and Manny came to Matty Blashfield and Matty Maroon came to our caucus to give us information about what was going on. And so that was where I determined this was a constitutional issue.
Right.
And that's where we entered in. We testified before the Senate, and they never let it come down. We were going to threaten to primary these folks that were going to vote to allow this to come out of the Senate down to the floor, the committee. And there was 2 votes that kept it from coming down at that time. I testified before the Senate and my co-director, Dan Benefield.
Yeah, okay. So at this point, we haven't really heard much more progress on the Michigan State Bridge. Where's that at? Is it still kind of stuck in limbo? If there's no treaty, they can't really proceed, right?
Well, there's been a federal judge who has given them permission to go.
Just this week.
Yeah, just this week. But as we know, federal judges' rulings sometimes don't stand. Sometimes federal judges do not take into consideration the Constitution.
Right.
So I have been made personally aware by people from the bridge that this will go all the way to the Supreme Court. It'll be forever by the time they get it cleared, and it'll be on a constitutional issue that this is a treaty issue. A federal judge can't determine if there is or is not a treaty. If there is one, he can determine what it says maybe. But there isn't a treaty to build that bridge up there.
Right.
Matty Maroon is protected with a treaty, and as Americans, patriot Americans, we need to honor our treaties.
Right, right. So in this case, this could drag out a very long time. The state would they have the gumption to build half a bridge and stop at the international line?
Well, that can't be done because of the nature of the span.
Okay.
Well, no. Have you ever seen the Peace Bridge in Niagara? I think it goes out halfway, or is it the Rainbow Bridge?
It's a piece of a bridge.
Yeah, exactly, and it goes halfway from Canada.
Well, that's what you call a bridge to nowhere.
That is the truth. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to mention next. The bridge to nowhere. Well, I'm still of the same. It's nice to know there's a constitutional issue there that could stop that. But I go back to the capitalism of it. You
Absolutely.
know, whether you like Matty Maroon or not, whether you like his family, his politics, or anything else or not, the man's doing it with his own money. He's not. I mean, he charges me when I cross the bridge, obviously, which he's entitled to.
Capitalism.
That's called capitalism.
Market.
You know, why would we want to spend? I don't know. $100 million. I don't know, what is the bridge going to cost? $100 million? $200 million?
By the time it's done.
By the time whatever they say,
Yeah.
you can triple or quadruple it because that's the way the government works. They screw us all and have the most incompetent administrators on the planet. But it's good to know there's a constitutional issue with it, and there's also now this. And you think the Maroon family will fight that all the way to the
Supreme Court? They will not give this up.
Okay.
As much as I would like them to believe that they are constitutionalist patriots as we are, it could be just a simple matter of money that will cause them to fight this. But it came from our caucus that is worthy of the fight through the Constitution.
Right.
And I am gratified by the members of our caucus who meet every Friday night and have for 10 years.
Yeah, at the Big Sky Diner.
At the Big Sky Diner. And let me take the time to thank the diner and Tony for what he gives us and what he does. It's not easy. Tony, as a child, was made to watch his father being executed, his grandfather being executed because he came to America he's from Romania.
Yeah.
And communists executed him just simply because he learned English in America.
Wow.
So Tony says to me, he says, Dennis, no matter, I'm trying to imitate his voice a little bit, no matter if you only have 5 people, you continue. He says, I know communism. I see it in my country, he says. I recognize what's happening in this country.
Yeah.
That's Tony. And I know it's maybe not the classic restaurant that folks may dine and ambiance and everything, but give Tony some business if you can at the Big Sky Diner.
Oh, the food's good.
Food's
is
really good.
Yeah, it's located down on Ypsi and what's
E-Course 1340 E-Course Road,
Yep,
Big Sky Diner.
Yeah, Big Sky
I meet
Diner.
Dennis there for dinner every Wednesday.
Yeah, it's my office hours in the morning.
Yeah, if you've never been to the Big Sky Diner and never been to Willow Run Tea Party Caucus, just go once. Just go
Yep,
once,
Friday
and
night.
you will see American democracy. That's grassroots at its best. It really
Every
is.
Friday night from 9 to midnight. Thanks for the plug. But
Yeah.
it's a patriotic thing. The people love. We do what we do because we love.
Yep.
And we love our country, and we love our children, we love we love patriots. What we don't like, I even love people who are misinformed. But I would love them enough to inform them.
Yeah. I think I kind of got involved with you guys back in 2010 when I ran for state senate.
Yeah.
And came down and you guys welcomed me in to speak and whatnot. And I was so taken that I ended up joining you guys even after I had lost.
Yeah, you're
the
still an
primary.
online member.
Yeah, I'm still an online member. So, but that's good. I'm glad that is continuing. Now, you had another issue too, Ed, that you had mentioned the Chinese village. What's going on with this? This is all kind of new to
Here
me.
in Ypsilanti, years ago, the city of Ypsilanti bought some property along the Huron River that's, south of Michigan Avenue. And it's called Water Street.
The Water Street property, waterfront property.
Water Street property. And they moved a number of people out. I mean, it was a eminent domain type thing, if you think of like that.
They ended up purchasing it, but the threat of eminent domain
Yeah.
made it really reasonable to purchase.
Yeah, and there were a number of businesses there. I knew some of the businesses that really got forced out, and they had to relocate outside of the city. They're thriving outside of Ypsi and delivering taxes to other communities. And so it turns out there was an automobile supply company there, auto parts manufacturing company there. And it's a brownfield?
It's contaminated ground, and
Yeah.
it costs the city an awful lot of money. God bless them for trying to clean up their grounds around where they are, and they did eminent domain to try to accomplish this. But the city of Ypsilanti is in a quandary right now. They're in a fix because they need to be fixed, and they don't have an answer. Selling ourselves to China is not the answer.
Well, that's
my perspective. That's my
though.
perspective, and we're going to get into that a little bit.
So they've got the property there, and now they've got to develop the property. Well, you can't just put a nature. In fact, I think people are forbidden to walk through there because of the quote unquote contamination.
It's
So,
not clean yet.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have been.
All
It's
right, so
killing animals and dogs.
Wow.
So a few years ago, there was an organization that wanted to build a similar village in Milan.
That's the one I was going to bring up.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, go ahead.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I had heard it from my buddy Ted the barber, Ted Zimmer, and he had said, "Hey, you need to investigate this, whatever." And somebody from WJR did, but they did kind of a half attempt at it, and I was never able to pursue it. I mean, I work a real job besides the radio, so I don't have time to do that, right? But that's what reminded us. So the Milan thing's gone. It's
The Milan thing fell through, but
Okay.
that was supposed to be. Go ahead.
May I enter into?
Yeah.
You're here,
The
that's
mayor
why I
of
got you.
Milan came to our caucus,
Yeah.
the Willow Run Tea Party caucus, and asked us. He was a former mayor at the time he came, but he was aware. He asked us if there was anything we could do. Now, this was the EB-5 visa program, which is what the Ypsilanti thing is, too, also. And
That's the buy yourself a citizenship clause, right?
yeah, buy yourself citizenship, and it's coming from the People's Liberation Army. The money is communist money. I mean, I can tell you that I think I know, but you'll have to prove it to the audience. But this is what we do: prove it. But the mayor of Milan asked us for assistance, and we got on the phones and we did a lot of calling and research, and for whatever reason, they decided to pull out. Now, this was going to be for Chinese families that send Chinese students to University of Michigan to gain information, knowledge, and degrees on technologies. We had a person in our caucus for years, Professor Kaufman. He's gone to be with the Lord now. And his major effort was to expose the stealing of technologies by the Harbin University in China, which was their MIT. And they were sending people over here gathering information and taking it. Professor Kaufman was the developed missile launch for the Trident missile. This man knew what he was talking about.
Yep.
And he even went to the point of being fired because of his protest. And that's when he started coming to our caucus,
Yep.
which I'm gratified that so many folks think that we can do so many things. And the reason they think that, let me mention a name. We have great success in precinct delegates, and it's because of two people, actually, Tony DeMott and Bill Bigler. These two people were a major part of our caucus, and we took leverage, and people became aware of the Willow and Tea Party caucus. So people who wanted to try to get things accomplished sort of came by and visited us. Sometimes we got it done.
Yeah. So and those are all good names. I've met Bill several times. I met Dr. Kaufman.
Yes.
Way back in the day, and I think we even might have done something in the current with him years ago. But he was